WLYR 93.0 is the station. That's what's up. Samurai Panda Sports is the show, and we about to cut it up now. Well. We have reached the end of another fantastic NFL football season. I hope you all enjoyed the big game. I definitely did. But it's the Monday after, which means some of us got to go back to school. I hope you packed a lunch. I hope you got your pencils and your notebooks. It's time for the Gradebooks.
Grades? I got no damn grades.
All I do here is go over each team's year, go over their stats, some good things, some bad things. Now, this is my opinion. I'm just a sports guy. That's it. We're going to kick it off with the AFC East, starting with the Buffalo Bills. Bills finished 13-3 in the regular season, first in the division, got all the way to the divisional round, got bounced by Cincinnati. Everyone had them as Super Bowl favorites, including myself. Unfortunately, they didn't get there. Couple good things. Josh Allen is Josh Allen. Top 5 quarterback. We know he's a super weapon. Pair that with a solid receiving core that he has. Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, Dawson Knox. Those are a solid group of guys. Now, I wouldn't say they're elite status. That'll be Cincinnati, in my opinion. Philly's receiving core is a little bit better, in my opinion. I would consider them elite, but it's definitely a solid group of pass catchers that they have. The defense actually was pretty decent this year too. Top 10, I would say, and they were great on third down, both on offense and defense. So we all know the Bills are great at moving the ball. I mean, you take a look at here, second in yards per game, averaging 6 yards a play. They're second in yards per drive. They score a ton of points. They convert on third downs, number 1 in the league on third down conversion, number 9 in the league in red zone percentage. They can definitely move the ball and push the ball up the field. And the defense, they can stop the run. They just got to get a little bit better in passing, but they don't allow a lot of points, and they don't allow teams to score in the red zone, which is key to winning in this league. But a couple things they got to tweak a little bit, which we'll get there in a second. But the Bills can move the ball. Josh Allen is a hell of a quarterback. Top 5, we all know this. Flip it over to the cons. Josh Allen again. Well, before I get there, let me talk about the defense. There's a couple things that they could tweak up. That secondary is very leaky. When I say that, I mean they give up enough plays to where it could cost them in big moments. They give up that wrong play, or they let that one guy get behind them. They let that one gap open up. The secondary could use a little bit of tweaking, and that would probably make that defense elite. Maybe get a shutdown corner. That leads me to the offense. So it's been 5 years. Josh Allen still doesn't have a run game. Why is that? I don't know if it's the play calling, which that is a con in my opinion. I feel like they were just seeing what sticks. There was no scheme, there was no strategy in a lot of games. It was just basically like, all right, Josh, we're going to do this one, make it happen. In doing that, if you let Josh off the leash, he might end up hurting you. And that's why he's a con. It's because of the simple fact of he could throw the game away. We saw that in the later half of the season where he just became this turnover machine, and he regressed back to the old Josh Allen, which that was the one thing that hindered him. When Brian Daboll was there, he was able to transform Josh into a more efficient passer. He took care of the ball. He utilized his legs efficiently. I don't know what happened, but ever since Daboll left, the problems came back, and now they're showing up in the worst way. Overall, I give the Buffalo Bills a B.
Oh my God. I passed.
It's not where we all expected them to be, how they finished the season, but it was definitely a solid season, a successful season overall. They just need to clean up that secondary, get Josh Allen a run game, have better strategy on offense, call some better plays, like develop a scheme, develop a rhythm or something. Like, don't just throw darts at the wall and see if it works or not. Good year, just not where they wanted it to be. We all had them as Super Bowl favorites. They just didn't get there. Fast forward to the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins finished 9-8, second in the division. They got to the wild card round, lost to the Bills, even though they almost knocked off the Bills. Let's go over the good things. Mike McDaniel in that offense, and the pass protection was pretty solid too. Mike McDaniel is definitely a offensive genius. He has learned a lot from Mike Shanahan, and it definitely shows. He's definitely the guy there.
Clock.
I can't believe there was rumors amidst the season of he might get canned or whatever. I don't see why, but They were 6th in yards per game, 4th in pass yards per game, 5th in yards per drive. 10th in red zone percentage. Mike McDaniel, he's definitely the guy there. There's no question there. And also the run defense, when they went up against good running teams, they definitely was able to stop them. They stopped the Bengals, they stopped the Niners. The Niners are a good running team. And the red zone defense was actually pretty good too. It was a solid defensive year all around. And when Tua was on the field, Tua was in the MVP conversation as early as week 2. There's a lot of elements there, and there's a lot of key pieces. I mean, Tyreek Hill had a stellar year. Waddle had a nice secondary stellar year. That receiving duo is fast as hell. Fast. Gotta go fast. Tua being injured, it hurt them a lot. But overall, I would say, like, I wouldn't be mad at this year at all. If Tua stayed healthy, who knows what could have happened. Let's just get to the cons here. Quarterback, what are they going to do? Is Tua playing? Is he not playing? Are they going to roll with him? Are they going to bench him, trade him? What are they going to do? Because your other options are Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson, which we saw how they turned out. Teddy Bridgewater is also a walking piece of glass, and Skylar Thompson, nothing leaped off the page to me that said, like, yeah, maybe you should roll with him.
No, man.
Not over Tua. Tua can't stay healthy. He had 3 concussions, 2 official, 1, it was obviously a concussion. They just said it was a back injury. It was a concussion. But other than that, there's some other issues. The defense gives up way too many points. 24th, averaging 23 points a game allowed. The pass defense is damn near at the bottom. They give up a lot of passing yards, which that can definitely hurt. You can stop the run, but if you let people throw on you all day, it's going to be impossible to win. That's why they were almost 500. And they got to get better on third down on both sides of the ball. They got to get better on third down, clean up the pass defense, get a shutdown corner, a safety. Wow, the same issues as the Bills. Quarterback, you got to figure that out. I still think Tua is the guy. I think Tua's it. It's just a matter of do they think so? And if not, well, that's a little crazy, but I can also understand that. I mean, he hasn't been healthy. Also, like, even though the rushing attack was formidable in some games, still finished 25th in the league, not even or averaging 100 yards a game. You got to clean that up too. And I know Mike McDaniel's going to work on that, so I'm not too worried about that per se. Overall, I give the Miami Dolphins a grade of a C. Could have been better, but it could have been worse. If Tua stayed healthy, I think they would have had a better record. Could have won the division, in my opinion. They could have easily made a deep playoff run and could have knocked the Bills off, even though they almost did with Skylar Thompson. So hopefully they're backfiring on all cylinders next year. Moving on, we have the New England Patriots.
Yikes.
Yeah. 8-9, third in the division, missed the playoffs. I mean, of course they did. Good things. The defense and special teams were highlights over the course of the year. There was a couple of games where the defense literally won the game for them. And I think the running game has a lot of potential with Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. Even though they finished 24th, there's something there. You can make something there. I say Belichick with a question mark because, yes, he's a great coach, one of the best coaches in NFL history, still one of the best coaches in the league. Do not sleep on Bill Belichick. It's a question mark because there's some questions. We'll get there in the cons in a second. And another thing is Bill O'Brien. You can't get any worse than what you did this past year. Bill O'Brien is definitely an improvement. Is it enough? We'll see, because we know what happened in Houston with him, but we'll see what happened. It's definitely an improvement because he is an offensive mind. But overall, I mean, the offense wasn't really great. The defense was okay. Top 10 in yards per game, top 10 in yards per drive, top 10 in points per game. It was okay. There was some bright spots, just not enough. Flip it over to the cons. Belichick. You're the general manager, so why haven't you drafted any skill position players? I think the last good one he drafted was Gronk. Honestly, would you put any of their receivers or tight end in your fantasy? No, you wouldn't. My point exactly. So they just got to get better at drafting skill positions. And another thing, Belichick, why are you hiring Joe Judge and Matt Patricia to call your offense? And you can see how that turned out. Last in red zone offense, 35% on third down, which is 27th. 27th in yards per drive, 24th in run yards per game, 20th in pass, 27th in total yards per game. Like, Bad. Bad.
Poor. Bad.
So maybe Bill O'Brien is the answer. Do I think so? No. I don't really trust it, but can't get worse than what you did. Belichick's specialty is always going to be defense, even though the defense wasn't stellar, but it was still solid. However, there were some instances where you start to see some kinks in the armor a little bit, like that Raiders game.
What was that?
Typically, we associate Bill Belichick and the Patriots to be one of the best teams situationally. You won't see them screw up. This year, you saw them screw up a bunch of times. You just got to build that offense, and you got to give it to somebody who can run an offense. The defense, there's some things you got to clean up. Matt Judon, he's a beast. Mac Jones regressed horrendously. I think he's still the guy because he did make the Pro Bowl as a rookie, but overall, the Patriots finished with a grade of a D.
I got a D minus.
I still say stick with Mac Jones and just put an offensive mind behind him and see what happens. It did work at one point. Not a good year for the Patriots, which I'm not complaining about as a Steelers fan. So moving on, the Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
Finished 7-10, last in the division, even though they had a really good start. They just didn't finish that way. Some bright spots: defense. Top 3 in yards per game. Top 3 in pass yards per game. Only allowing teams 5 yards per play. Second in yards per drive. Top 5 in points per game. Top 5 in red zone percentage. This defense was stellar this year. Sauce Gardner. Woo! Lock it down, people. He said Justin who? Justin Jefferson who? Quentin Williams. Like, that defense. Robert Saleh, which leads me to my next point. Robert Saleh is doing a phenomenal job with the defense. I think he's a good fit for this organization. Most people didn't like how he handled the Zach Wilson situation, but I'm like, what else is he supposed to do? When you have a playoff caliber defense like that, they balling out of control. You got some decent pieces on offense. Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Breece Hall was on pace to win that if he didn't get hurt, but he was balling out of control. Elijah Moore can ball out when he's not complaining. Robert Saleh coached this team up, and I would have sat Zach Wilson down too. Oh, what? I'm gonna hurt his confidence. So what? You're the number 2 pick. You're supposed to be playing better than what you're playing as. You're supposed to be this prodigy and all this other stuff. You're not. You're trash. You're trash. Flip it over to the cons. If the Jets can swallow the fact that Zach Wilson is not the guy and move on to a different quarterback, this team can be a perennial playoff team. Yes, I said that. I'm saying the Jets can be a perennial playoff team. We saw this year, they were close. They were just a quarterback away. And Derek Carr's floating out there. Well, he will be soon. Aaron Rodgers might be leaving. Jimmy G's out there. I don't know if Brady's done officially, but they just need a quarterback. And the run game. If Breece Hall stayed healthy, maybe it wouldn't be an issue, but I thought James Robinson would play more of a role here. But because of the lack of run game and no quarterback play, the red zone offense was horrible. This is the bit of news I've heard over the past week. Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator and Todd Downing as your passing game coordinator. The same Todd Downing in Tennessee with that passing game.
What are you doing, man?
And then Nathaniel Hackett with what happened in Denver. I'm labeling this as a con because of the simple fact of, did you not see last year? Did you not see? I saw a tweet, I think it was Ian Rappaport, whatever. He, tried to make it seem like, oh, he's beefing up the offensive staff. With idiots, these are not the hires I would go for. No, after last year, no, it's just not it. It's just not it. I'm giving them the same grade as the Patriots, a D. And here's why. They had a strong start to the season, but because of quarterback play, you see the offensive stats, they were terrible, horrendous. But they had a solid start, and they could have went to the playoffs if they had just had a quarterback. They're only missing a quarterback and maybe a couple more pieces here and there, but it's literally just a quarterback. Derek Carr? Maybe. But overall, I give him a D. I mean, the AFC East, it's a disappointing season for everybody. The Bills didn't make it to the Super Bowl or win it. Weren't even close. The Dolphins didn't finish off as good as they would have. They had a lot of quarterback issues there. The Patriots woefully, offensively, wow. And then the Jets just collapsed within themselves because of the quarterback play. So disappointing all around for all these teams. Hopefully they retool in the offseason and then we'll have a way more competitive season next year. But This might be a division to watch next year if they get all the pieces right. But with that being said, class is dismissed. WLYR 93.0 is the station. That's what's up. Samurai Panda Sports is the show. Don't get cut. I will see you guys in the next video where I am going... Crap. AFC South. That's the next video. This is Lyricist the Kid signing off. We out.